Hey there, and thanks so much for taking a chance on this small channel. And welcome to the first ever Lotus SMP Comment of the Day episode. I know that I've already placed 2 episodes out there. If you haven't seen them on the main channel, you're more than welcome to go and take a look. But this first Comment of the Day episode is going to start with our second video, if that makes sense. I missed it. I was too busy getting not only episode 1 out, but episode 2 out for the Lotus SMP. I just wanted to get you all comments, but I totally forgot that one thing that I really was enjoying doing when we were doing our playthrough through the Desert Kingdom was doing a comment of the day video, where I kind of was able to just sit back and kick back and relax with you all and chit chat, answer a couple of your questions, and take a look at not only what I've been working on, but now what everyone else has been working on for the first week, maybe week and a half of the Lotus SMP. So let's hop into it. Our first question comes from one of my favorite YouTubers and actually a member of the Lotus SMP as well. It comes from Cobb Plays, and he asks, what are the goals for your channel? And it's kind of difficult to answer. I definitely have intrinsic goals, and I would also, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I didn't have any, like, in the back of my mind, goals about like, oh, I'd love to hit this subscriber count or this view count on a video and that sort of thing. But there is a lot of vanity in those measures. And so I would say that the main goals that I've set for myself that are kind of, I'm trying to figure out at the moment, I'll say at first, I've accomplished everything that I wanted to in 2024 on YouTube, and we're only halfway through the year. So that's why everything is in limbo, and I'm very, very grateful to be able to say that. Like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. And I didn't want to raise the bar too high in the first place anyway. But anyway, my goals for 2024 started off with making a video every single week. Every other week. So every 2 weeks I would make a video. I was making a video about once a month at the time. And so I was like, okay, during 2024, I'm going to make sure that I set a goal for myself and do a video every other week. And I was able to do that, but then I ended up setting the bar even higher, and I decided, hey, you know what? Why don't I try to make a high quality video, or like as high quality as I can, given everything that I'm juggling in life at the time, every single week. Like, I'm gonna make a deadline, and I'm gonna make sure that happens somehow. And I was able to do that too. And I still was, I got more efficient, and I just got better at things. And I decided, again, to make a video every week on the second channel, and then every single day on the second channel, along with every week on the main channel. And those of you that have been following the the channel know that that did not turn out too well for me. And I'm doing way better. Thank you for all the love on that most recent video about my ER visit and that sort of thing. Thank you so much for that. It really meant a lot. I felt very cared for, and sometimes you can feel like you're kind of just speaking into a microphone or speaking into the abyss, and you're like, does anyone really matter? Does anyone care? And I felt I got so much love from that. But I was able to accomplish all those goals, right? And then externally, I was also able to accomplish my goal of hitting 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're already at over 3,000 subscribers as of recording this. And that's just mind-blowing to me. And I'd also really wanted to have a video. This is the main thing, like in something that I can't control way, but this is a goal for me. I want to have every single one of my videos on a Let's Play hit 1,000 views. Like, I want that to be, have that be the average. But like, my goal for this year has been to have on average 500 views per video on the main channel. And I've been able to do that. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I still want 1,000 views per video and that sort of thing. But I've definitely hit the goal of on average 500. And then in the back of my mind, I also had always wanted have a video hit 10,000 based on something that was like my own artwork. If you've been following the main channel for a long time, you'll know that my most popular video ever on the channel has about 170,000 views, and it's a replay mod tutorial. I put maybe 2 hours into that video at a time when I really wasn't that good at video editing. It was really as a point of like, oh, like I know how to do this. I know that this knowledge has a hole that needs to be filled, and I know that I can fill it, if that makes sense. And so it was a perfect fit, and I think that that's why that video has been so successful. But it didn't take me a lot of time. The knowledge and skills and acquisitions that I got in order to get to that point took me a long time to figure out, like how to understand replay mod and make cinematics and that sort of stuff. And that's what I value more. Like, I really want my artwork, which is like the art videos that I make, like the Let's Play videos, like I consider them pieces of art. Like, that's how I try to make them, and I hope that you see them that way, or maybe you can go back to them and take a look at them in that vein and be like, oh wait, like there was something really deliberate behind everything here. I really wanted one of those videos to hit 10,000 views, and in particular, the movie that came out, that was really important for me. I was like, if I have a shot at getting a really, really high performing video, that movie is it, and I wanted it so badly, and I'm grateful to say that it's almost at 15,000 views 2 weeks later. And so again, like I've been hitting every single goal, and I'm so lucky for that. And so, you know, I was talking with Schwepp the other day, or not the other day, like a couple months ago. He popped into a community post where I was just being so grateful for all of the success, and he was like, it's time to raise the bar. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but I haven't hit those bars that I had been looking for, you know, an average 500 views a video or 3,000 subscribers and that sort of thing. So those have been my goals, but as of the last like 2 weeks, everything's been hit. I hit, you know, over 10,000 views on a video in the same week that I hit 3,000. And yeah, I feel very, very lucky for that. But I guess, you know, the only way to go is up. And so I don't know exactly where my goals are at the moment, I would say. You know, I would say maybe 4,000 subscribers will be cool, eventually getting to the 5K mark. And in the back of my mind, and, you know, just to be truthful, I had really wanted that video to get to 100,000 views, the movie. And who knows, it's still really, you know, it's going up over and over. And that's a really satisfying feeling. So, you know, eventually I'd like for the movie for Lotus, like all of the individual episodes that I'm making now, when I compile them together, I'd love for that to get 100,000 views. And I think that that's why I'm being so deliberate about making every standalone part so good, because when I compile it all together, it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this is a real work of art. And that's how I felt when I sat back down and I watched my movie, which is, you know, just a really satisfying, incredible feeling, I would say. So 4,000 subscribers, but then, you know, I also have struggled a little bit out of having my productivity bar too high with YouTube. So my goals right now, honestly, is kind of just to continue on to consistency, and to post a high quality video on the main channel every single week, and then have this comment of the day video where I kind of kick back and relax with you guys the day of that video coming out. So one video on each channel per week and that sort of thing. And I think I could do that as the work year gets more difficult, but I'm also knowing that I'm gonna have to scale back my projects on Lotus in order to do that, or things just get so efficient on Lotus with everyone having different farms and that sort of thing that it makes everything easier. And I don't know. So just being consistent is really the thing, with the hope that I continue to make something incredible and hopefully, you know, get recognized with that. Like, I would love to be that YouTuber that is getting 1,000 views on every single video on the main channel. Like, don't get me wrong, and like I'm definitely working towards there in that sort of regard, but after watching a bunch of other smaller YouTubers like yourself, Cobb, and like BH and that sort of thing, I realized that there's something incredible about being underrated. And like, I don't know, I'm gonna pause there for a second because like that's really important too. And I'm like, wow, like I really hope that this becomes something, but at the same time, like it's so cool to be recognized for more than what you might be valued based on your reach thus far, if that makes sense. And like, I think that goes along the line of like, oh, like it only takes one video and that sort of thing. And I'm not doing it because it takes one video. I'm doing it because every video getting better makes something incredible. But it would be cool to be recognized along that line. And I think that the more that other people, the more that I build community, mentioned to your thumbnail or your title for your most recent video, it's who you meet along the way. And what you were talking about with that, it is who you meet along the way. And so I think that some life experiences for me recently have gotten my mind off of like, oh, it matters to become paid and like, I don't know, or like have this be the dream or that sort of thing. The dream isn't the dream when it's sacrificing you so much. And so like finding the balance and being consistent and like being okay with maybe being underrated, if that makes sense, but just like enjoying the consistency and making the product better. And hopefully at the end of this year being like, oh my God, I focused everything onto this for a year in terms of like the quality, in terms of like not placing my eggs in too many baskets and that sort of thing, and being proud of what I've made myself, and then hopefully having that video pop off. So let's go, y'all. It's been like 10 minutes and I've only answered one question. Let's go. It's going to be a good Q&A, I can tell. Our next comment of the day comes from NWCYDN, who said, your recent video floated about on my feed and I absolutely fell in love with your cinematics. What made you choose that style? Well, that's a good question. I think that the style has come over time. And if you go through my old like playthroughs and that sort of thing, you'll see that, but there's also always been a specific style. And I've talked about collaborations with other YouTubers and they've kind of just been like, we have a different vibe. And at first, or like earlier on, I really was kind of like hurt from that. I was like, man, like I want to have like the cool vibe. Like that's why I want to collaborate, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I'm kind of like a very down-to-earth, most people say very chill person. And I always played the cello when I was a kid, and so I loved orchestral music, and I've always loved cinematography. Like before I ever got into Minecraft, I got into like filmmaking and cinematography, and I would take my GoPro camera out and about and just make little films and that sort of thing. And if I was inside, like during COVID, like I would just try to like get good shots and angles and that sort of thing. And you can see that on my Instagram. My entire Instagram is just a compilation of my life for multiple years of my life, where every couple of weeks, sometimes every week, sometimes once a month, I would make a compilation of little snippets of my life and that sort of thing. And I would always try to make it as cinematic as possible and like do the cool transitions and match it to music. And so I think that when I finally was able to have the skill set and like sit down with like replay mod and like editing software and be able to understand like, oh, I know kind of what I'm putting together or how to put something together. That's just kind of like what came out, I would say. Like that's what came out before I even know how to do that. Because I think that what I knew about editing and about creation and what I liked, like that was everything who I was, and I would say, and then tons of inspiration. The biggest one being that I can think of at the time being Mythical Sausage and his Empire's SMP Season 2, I think. His intro video, oh my gosh. If you have not seen Empire Season 2 from Mythical Sausage's playthrough or point of view, that is kind of what I'm doing on Lotus, except for just without a full-time budget, if that makes sense, in my own style. But his cinematic ability to really portray something incredible was like hugely impactful, and I wanted to be able to do something like that. And so I think that it all kind of just meshed together, and then the music in particular has evolved over time. It used to be a little bit more lo-fi, a little bit more rap-like, and a little bit more Latina, like a Latin pop sort of thing. And I love that because when I study, I like lo-fi and I listen to rap music pretty much the rest of the time. And then I also like an extra little flair of like some cumbia or like, I don't know, some Latin music. And the reason for that is I've studied abroad and I've talked about that on this channel before. in Spanish-speaking places, and so I kind of like that vibe, and it's nostalgic for me, and I enjoy that. But as I continue to grow into like my commentator voice, if that makes sense, like, or just get comfortable speaking on a microphone for a long time, and the more I was able to edit that and realize what kind of music went with it and what kind of music didn't go with it, like, I'm not the sort of person that's going to put on some hard rock behind me. Like, that's not my voice, you know, but finding what I liked, like specific classical pieces of music, and like definitely a lot of like folk and classical for me. You look at my Epidemic Sound, I pick and choose from those, and there's so, oh my gosh, that's my content, especially with, it matches with the voice and with the cinematics. And I think that the more I've been able to harmonize all those things together, the more that the style has evolved. It wasn't necessarily a choice as much more as it was stepping into things, but it was also deliberate at the same time, because I realized that I couldn't be like anyone else. Like, I couldn't be a remake, if that makes sense. Like, I couldn't be one of the other YouTubers, and that's a good thing. But for a long time, I was upset about that, because I knew that this sort of, a certain sort of content was what was successful. And I was like, I can't make that. Like, I've tried to reach out to the YouTubers that are good at that, and they're like, I don't want to collaborate with you because you're not that style. And I was like, oh man, like, I can't be successful. Like, it's not going to happen. And so I had to kind of live with it. And then the more I sat with it and grew confident with who I was on this platform, and the more that people supported me like yourselves along the way, the more I kind of have found it. And the more it evolves. I'm sure I'll look at this next year and I'll be like, man, like, this was garbage. Or, you know, I don't know, not in a self-degradate, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, not in a bad way, but like, I'll still be proud of it, because I always am, but like, I'm sure it'll be even better a year from now, and that's the whole point of this whole process, right? And like, putting things out there. So it came to me, and I really like my style. I think that I have no problem watching my videos or anything like that, or listening. I have no problem making cuts of my voice anymore, because I got used to it, although I did not like it at first. And so that's another ramble, but yeah, that's my answer. Our next question comes in from Ion_YT, who asked, when did you start playing Minecraft? And I think that I started playing Minecraft like 11 or 12 years ago. I want to say I was like 13 years old. One thing about me, my parents are divorced. They have been for my entire life, and that's okay. They get along fine and whatnot, and I'm a grown adult, so it doesn't matter anymore. But my parents were split, and I remember being at my dad's house, and my dad had a really, really awesome view. I got to live on the water as a kid, or like right next to it. And my dad's house just had a wonderful view of like the backyard and the water. And he had a cool little desk just looked out into it, and it was a snowy night in New England, and I want to say like 12 or 13. And it must have been a weekend night, because I had no pressure about getting to school, or maybe that's just how things were back when you were that young. There was not a care in the world, but for me, there wasn't a care in the world. And it was a snowy night, and it was just one of the most peaceful things ever. And we did have like a fire going in the background. And interestingly enough, I was playing Minecraft on this little computer for hours, and I couldn't get away from it. I think it was like a little Mac at the time. Which I guess, maybe a bigger screen Mac or whatever it was. It was my dad's computer, and he was letting me use it and whatnot. And beyond the point, I was playing in a snow-only biome while it was snowing outside, and like my backyard was like a taiga biome. In the taiga biome that I was creating a house in, that overlooked the water in the game, that overlooked the water in my real life, and it was just like such a calming feeling. And so that's my earliest memory. And then I have tons of other like jumbled memories from like a long time ago. Like I remember playing like Minecraft Hunger Games back in the day, which I don't understand why that's not a thing anymore. It's such a blast. And I feel like there's so much good content that can come from it too. I guess it's just kind of evolved, right? But remember doing tons of Hunger Games, and I think that I had a friend back around that same time that we hopped into a couple servers ourselves, and we spent hours just playing Minecraft together. But we didn't know how to do anything. Like, we weren't good at the game. I was totally terrible at it. And then I put it down for a long time, and I picked up Call of Duty and got very good at Call of Duty. And then I put that down, and I went to college and didn't really do anything. And then COVID hit, and then I didn't have anything to do, and it was like Minecraft. Oh, that was soothing. Like, I remember it, and I got super into it. And here we are, almost 4 years later. Yeah. And I officially started this channel apparently in 2022. So I've only really I haven't even been doing this for 2 years. No, I've been doing it for a little bit over 2 years. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's when I started playing. And last, but very not least, awesome question from Throwlash. And honestly, I'd love to hear everyone else's comments in the video. Please leave your ideas down below if you've gotten to this point, and thank you so much for getting to this point if you have. But from the man, Throwlash, if you could only mine one block for the rest of your Minecraft career, what would it be and why? Oh, that is a hard question, and I'm just gonna go off the rip. When I saw this, I decided to give it a lot of thought, and then I was like, as I started getting into that thought train, I was like, nope. Don't like overthink it, because that's not fun. Like, just go off the rip when you answer these questions when you're recording, that sort of thing. And I'll give you my first thing that I thought of, but then my second right after thought, and I'm gonna go with the second right after. But the first one is lily pads, and I don't know why, but they're satisfying to see in replay mod, but they're not satisfying to do in the game, right? Like, if you're going through a mangrove swamp and you have to go through all the mangrove roots to get like lily pads every once in a while with your shears, like, that's annoying to get a stack in my personal opinion, although they look so good, right? So it wouldn't be that, but it would be wheat. I love farming, and I love harvesting wheat in particular. I think that you can see that common theme in a lot of my builds. I just make a lot of wheat. And I think that there's something really satisfying about the sound and just the, like, I don't know, you just like get into the theme of it and that sort of thing. And then I could make wheat fields for days. I really mean that. Like, I know that there's a Minecraft YouTuber that like is all about making watermelons and is like farms the most watermelons and made like a watermelon cult, like, which is cool. And like, it'd be fun to be part of a cult with people like Flip, who's always making wheat fields and that sort of thing. But it would definitely have to be wheat for me. It's satisfying to do. There's a good sound. You instantly see the progress through the contrast and the colors. The sound's incredible. You look back at the replay mod and you can capture it in any sort of way, with shaders or without shaders, and it looks cool. So that's my answer, but I'd love to know what you guys would think. Please do let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for hanging out. We're going to be doing a comment of the day episode just like this every single week, so if you have any more comments, please do consider leaving them down below. I don't want to have to be asking myself questions all the time, and I've done that before. So I'll do it anyway. We'll still have a video come out, I promise. You'll get to know more about me whether or not you want to. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and I will check in with you all next week.